Oh boy, the UFC before the Super Bowl. These are always my favorite cards, the UFC before the Super Bowl cards, because I always get excited for the Super Bowl in general, just because I'm a football fan. But knowing that there's some MMA fights that I can get into is fucking awesome as well. But this year's card was kind of like, everyone was like, what's going to be the fights on this card? This card was not as anticipated as most Super Bowl cards. Originally planned for this card was going to be Jon Jones versus Glover Teixeira, you know, for the light heavyweight championship. That is a great card if you want to get people who are in town for the Super Bowl, or if you want to throw a UFC party the night before, have people sleep over, and then throw the Super Bowl party the next day. That is a great way to get people over, because Jon Jones is known as a fighter that has mixed reviews on him. A lot of people like him, a lot of people hate him. It's a mixed type of fight. And Glover Teixeira is a guy who trains with Chuck Liddell. You can just mention that he trains with Chuck Liddell, so people are going to be like, oh, this guy must be good because he trains with the Iceman. And he has knockout power, so you think you could knock out Jon Jones. So that fight was going to be good, but it just didn't work out. And so we were originally supposed to get the returning Dominick Cruz. Remember Dominick Cruz, people? The former bantamweight champion of the world? Yeah, Dominick Cruz was supposed to return to this event to unify the belts with Renan Barao, the interim champion at the time. Dominick Cruz once again got injured, and so which means Renan Barao became the undisputed bantamweight champion. The only other guy that could face Renan Barao at the time, because they didn't want to pull him off this card, because otherwise the main event would be Jose Aldo versus Ricardo Lamas, and you do not want Ricardo Lamas main eventing your UFC before the Super Bowl. So they grab Urijah Faber, a guy that you probably think will get people going to the event, someone that is interesting enough, a good-looking guy, and blah, blah, blah. And that's how we formed UFC 169. Anyways, let's get started with Trulio taking on Jamie Varner in a lightweight battle. Jamie Varner wasn't even supposed to fight this. I believe Bobby Green was supposed to fight Trulio before, but he got injured. But anyways, Trulio and Varner, these two said, do you give a fuck? No, I don't give a fuck. All right, we're just going to fucking fight. And these guys just pounded each other. These guys were having a fun little battle. I was enjoying it. Varner actually looked good, because I was surprised how well Varner was taking the stand-up battle from Trulio. I thought Trulio would just dominate Varner from the stand-up, but he looked really good and even rocked Trulio in the second round until Trulio came back with that nasty-ass KO. Oh, Jamie Varner. The only downside of this is that we didn't get a Jamie Varner post-fight speech where he retires and then unretires in the same night. Oh, God. Anyways, let's just move on forward to Ali Bogodet-Teoff. Sorry if I butchered this name. I have to write this name down because I could not know if I could pronounce it. Taking on John Lineker in a flyweight bout. God, John Lineker is a huge-ass flyweight. I mean, I heard that he was struggling cutting to this weight, and it seems like he's struggling fighting at this weight. Ali wins this fight, and it's not an interesting fight. This is why I'm not recapping it. Nothing really popped up to me in this fight whatsoever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. John Lineker might go to bantamweight, and Ali Bogodet-Teoff is probably moving up into flyweight division that is held by the nicest guy in the world, Demetrius Johnson. All right, let's get to the main stuff, the stuff people want me to talk about. First off, my boy Alistair Overeem kicked the living shit out of Frank Mir. Frank Mir had nothing to say to Alistair Overeem. Overeem came into that fight, and he was like, I knew that was going to happen. I know a lot of you people out there expected me to knock out the Frank Mir. I have no intentions knocking out Frank Mir. His brain is already damaged. Pretty much I just dominated the fight to show that I can go 3 rounds. And Brock Lesnar, you want to come back to the UFC? I'm here waiting for you. I will make sure you can't pull the horseshoe out of my ass, because I am the horse, and you are the shoe, and I'm going to stomp you, Alistair Overeem, 316. Now, Alistair Overeem did not say that, but pretty much his whole fight, Overeem just dominated me. I thought this was going to be over in the first round, but Overeem, really, to be honest, he just was coasting most of the fight. Frank Mir did not look good whatsoever. -1 guillotine attempt in the second round where it looked like, oh, Frank Mir is going to get it. And overall, Overeem pretty much dominated the rest of the fight. It wasn't even close. And he called out Brock Lesnar, and it's just like, come on, Alistair. You're calling out Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar right now is doing WWE. He's breaking people's arms pretend-wise. Brock Lesnar Like, calling out Brock Lesnar is so weak, in my opinion. I mean, it's hilarious because it's just like, okay, Overeem versus Lesnar, that's going to be funny because both these guys have legitimate beef with each other. But it's just like, come on, dude. The dude's not even in the UFC. What happened to you versus JDS? Do you realize you're not as good as JDS, so that's why you don't want to call out JDS? You decide to call out someone lesser and Brock Lesnar so you can pick up an easy second win? And I have no problem with it. You got to do what you got to do to rise up into UFC, but come on, man. This is just, this just wasn't pretty to me. All right, now we move on to something more pretty. Jose Aldo and Ricardo Lamas. Oh, God. My friend texted me, and he was asking me, so who do you want to win this fight? And I really told him I could care less who won this fight because I don't know why Jose Aldo's defending the belt against Ricardo Lamas out of all people. I said to him that, like, Lamas is just so awkward. Can you imagine with this guy with the UFC title belt? He will be the most weirdest looking UFC champion of all time. He would. He would look so weird. Could you imagine if you looked at the champions? I mean, imagine the champions. You got the Mexican heavyweight and Cain Velasquez. You got John Jones. You got Chris Weidman. You got Anthony Pettis. Does he really count? Because he doesn't really fight that much. Ooh, yeah, I went there. You got vacated title. You got Renan Barao. You got, oh, God, Demetrius Johnson. So many divisions. I'm trying to think. And you got Ronda Rousey. And then you look at all those fighters. Just picture the fighters that I named in your head. And then you look at Ricardo Lamas with a fucking belt. How fucking weird would that look? Oh, God. Just look weird. Jose Aldo, I don't care what anyone says. Dominate this fight. Don't say, oh, Lamas looked good in some rounds. No, Lamas looked shit besides the 5th round because Jose Aldo was like, yeah, I'm tired and I'm lazy. Oh, please, like, Jose Aldo was going to lose to Ricardo Lamas. Jose Aldo would have known if he got hurt because he would have scrambled out of that position fast. Jose Aldo was fine. He just didn't care. And this is to the point where I just say Jose Aldo's dominating the 145 division, and Anthony Pettis keeps calling him out. Hey, Anthony Pettis, why don't you fucking get healthy first before you start calling people out and acting like you're some big shot? Because last time I checked, you still have to defend that UFC lightweight title. Just saying, TJ Grant and Benson Henderson are waiting for you. Yes, you beat Benson Henderson, but did you beat TJ Grant? No, not yet. Josh Thompson was supposed to fight you, and then you pulled out the injury. Now, Josh Thompson, I'm sorry. I like Showtime Pettis as a fighter. He's entertaining, but he's way too cocky for his own good, and he's one of those fighters that I would love to see get knocked out because if Jose Aldo knocked him out, it would be the most beautiful thing in the world. I know Jose Aldo still has guys like Chad Mendes and Cub Swanson that people want to see him fight, but in all honesty, he looks bored in that featherweight division. Moving on up to the lightweight division, haven't faced a fresh new crop of guys because I'm sick and tired of seeing Jose Aldo whip almost every other featherweight in the world. Anyways, let's just move on forward to the main event of the evening between Renan Barao and Urijah Faber. Urijah Faber, like I said earlier, got this title shot because Dominic Cruz got hurt. This fight was actually entertaining. Renan Barao was like kicking Faber's ass for most of the fight and near the end of the first round. And then later on, you know, there was a point where Faber was fighting back, but then Faber got caught and then Faber was fighting back. It was really entertaining. I said, man, if this fight goes like this might actually be a good fight. And then all of a sudden, boom, Faber gets leveled. Hammer fist by Barao. And Faber, the hammer fists weren't really connecting to Urijah Faber. And Herb Dean was saying, fight back, because Faber was just hanging on to Barao's leg. Faber just gave a thumbs up like, yo, dog, I'm okay. But I guess Herb Dean didn't see that and called off the fight. And in all honesty, a lot of people will be like, oh, that was a bad, questionable stoppage. And then Barao does his usual, I'm reading Barao dance. You know, he usually does that dance after every win. But Urijah Faber, you know, this guy can't get a break in title shots, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't blame Herb Dean for stopping the fight there. I mean, put it in Herb Dean's perspective. Yes, we are watching the fight too, like Herb Dean. But Herb Dean is literally right in the motherfucking cage. He's right in the cage hearing these fists go. Like, he's hearing these people hit each other, man. He's not just there to watch the fight like all of us. He's there actually hearing that. So if you're Herb Dean, put it in Herb Dean's perspective. Yes, the stoppage, you could say was premature or bad. But if you look at how Faber was getting beaten up earlier in the fight, I couldn't blame Herb Dean for stopping the fight. I mean, to us, he looked fine. But to Herb Dean, who's in the cage, having to watch that, he looked like a rag doll. So I'm sorry. I love Urijah Faber. He's one of my favorite fighters. Hell, I'm wearing a Urijah Faber t-shirt right now. If you guys remember Silver Star, that is. But yes, I'm wearing a Urijah Faber t-shirt. He's one of my favorite fighters, but he simply got his ass kicked, and Barao's the champion. And I love that Renan Barao is a champion that you hate because he's good. Anthony Pettis is more like a champion you hate because he's kind of cocky. I mean, he is good, Anthony Pettis. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's nowhere near Renan Barao's level. Renan Barao is like a champion you just hate. I mean, because he's so fucking good, and you want to see if someone can beat this bastard, and he acts so damn cocky. Kind of like a little Anderson Silva, like a smaller version of Anderson Silva. How many people hated Anderson Silva because he was so good and so cocky and would dance after his wins. Barao gets that from the fans. Like, it's not like John Jones, because John Jones' personality is just so fucking bipolar. You don't know what you're getting out of him. And then, like I said with Anthony Pettis, where he just is way too damn cocky and doesn't know it for his own good. It's more of like Renan Barao is just hated because of who he is as a fighter. And that's what I like, when fighters are hated more for what they do inside of the octagon. And in all honesty, I'm glad Renan Barao is in this sport, and I hope he remains bantamweight champion so I can see so many casual fans rage every time they see him win, because it's hilarious to me. I love it. I just love when casual fans are upset. I'm a sick freak, I know. Anyways, guys, that's it for UFC 169. Overall, this show was not good, in my personal opinion. I just thought this show was kind of lackluster, kind of boring, kind of You know, the first fight was cool. I guess check out the main event. And if you like Jose Aldo, you'll like that he dominated another lane featherweight. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Like Doreen would say, peace.